The CPF is our key pillar in the social security system. It is a mandatory savings account that helps us put aside money today to cover our needs in old age. As the CPF is a defined contribution system, the full amount in your CPF account would go to your family if you pass on prematurely. Both individuals and their employers contribute their share to the scheme. And that's important to remember. That as part of the CPF system, employers contribute to that scheme as well. And it is also a vehicle through which we help to cater for healthcare and housing needs. Allowing a full withdrawal from CPF at age 55 today will put us at a real risk of outliving our savings in our old age. To blindly keep to the earlier model of full withdrawal at age 55, which made sense then, I think would be wrong, and I think would be irresponsible. That is why we introduced the minimum sum scheme. The policy is not a new one. It has been in place for about 30 years. And the idea is this. It is, how do we stream out our CPF savings every month to meet living expenses instead of having them all withdrawn in a lump sum? Neither do we require for Singaporeans to set aside all our CPF savings to be streamed out this way. Only a basic amount necessary for retirement expenses is required, and you can withdraw your CPF savings above that in a lump sum. Now let me clarify several issues relating to this whole concept of the minimum sum. First, the minimum sum is cohort specific. Once it is set for a particular cohort, it does not change. For example, someone who turns 55 between July 2014 and June 2015 will need to set aside $155,000 as a minimum, above which he can withdraw. And this is slightly higher than what a person who turned 55 last year needed to set aside, which was $148,000. And that remains unchanged for that person who turned 55 last year. Now, to further illustrate, for someone who turned 55 5 years ago, his minimum sum was $117,000. And that has remained unchanged for him. And so on and so forth. Second, the increases to the minimum sum for each successive cohort over the last decade are part of a major planned gradual adjustment starting in 2004 to catch up with what a lower middle income household would need in retirement. This was announced a number of years back. It is part of a plan. How did we arrive at this figure of $155,000 for this year's cohort? That is the amount we assess that you need to get a monthly payout of about $1,200 in 10 years' time when you reach the age of 65, when you begin your drawdown of your CPF savings. We estimate that that is how much a lower middle income household would spend on daily living when they enter retirement 10 years from now. $1,200 per month in 10 years is not, we think, an excessive amount. It is equivalent to only about what $1,000 would be able to fetch today. Third, if you do not meet your minimum sum at 55, you do not need to top up the shortfall in cash, nor do you need to sell your property to make up the shortfall. What it means is that with a smaller amount, your monthly stream out would be correspondingly less, and that is all. Fourth, only half of the minimum sum needs to be set aside in cash. The savings above that amount can be used to finance housing purchases or be withdrawn through a property pledge. This means that a member turning 55 this year, for example, only needs to set aside $77,500 in cash, and the rest can be withdrawn through a property pledge. $77,500 will translate to a CPF life payout of about $600 or so per month in retirement, which is not excessive.